Sunday, and he said, well, he was going down there, and he put it a little bit out, but, 4 nose, I mean, I didn't pull it, I didn't pull the car, I was watching while I was down there. I was gonna go pull it this afternoon, but I've had a rough time. What's up? What's up, man? Long, you alright? You had a birthday and everything. What are you, 14 now?
15?
15.
Yeah.
Man.
That's what I've been doing.
Basketball, y'all still playing?
Yeah. We had our last game yesterday.
Yeah. You playing JV or what?
What's up, man?
You alright?
Yeah, alright.
I had it set up where I was going to run it back here, but yeah, in there because I know when great. Kendall. What's up, y'all?
You're the man of the hour.
You had to have something go a little bit wrong. That was that in 30 days when he wouldn't have been a good one.
Have a baby.
Mike, we took it then just because we didn't know how long it was. Yeah. No,
Don't think about it.
did every task I had to do for the list they sent to do ahead of time. And those were very interesting. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, that's 30 later. And I went, I got like 2 or 3 times more than anybody else.
I mean, you're really good at it.
Well, cybersecurity. It's all good. I love it.
Working, work, going home and working. Yeah, I got yellow side. You know, a lot of people, I don't do a lot, but I actually working too a lot. Like, I'm a 6 hour, I'm fine, it works okay. But satellite option, that's using it. So the local dude over there, I want to bring it down. I said, I'm gonna go get the information. They looked at me, they said, what are you talking about that? I said, we said, I said, well, I said, y'all are authorized doing it. No, we said, he's there, and I had it. I said, man, and I said, you're perfect. No work says it on there. I said, you can change shirts or either find out who you're watching. Or then somebody come out of the back and say, yeah, we do sell it. We can't remember our login information. And I said, well, what? I believe I'm going to go online and maybe order it all there. It's $150 a month, 25 meg, unlimited data. But if I can get I mean, you know, we're not streaming video anymore, other than this game. What do you have on there? That's what man, you have next album. Everybody grab a seat. We got something special going on tonight. Mr. Scott Lewis is going to share his testimony. We've been doing testimonies. The deacons have been kind enough to come and share their testimonies. And Mr. Scott said they have only more than 5 minutes. And so I said, man, you can have the whole time. And because this week's busy with the house, so I'm really glad you're coming tonight. So I got a couple of quick announcements. First one is Joelle interviews this summer. If you want to go to that, sign up for that by March 7th for $50. Okay, $50 deposit on March 7th. The total money is due, I can't remember off the top of my head, I think it's like April or May. It's $150. I can't remember, I'll tell you all later, but it's June 28th through July 3rd at Clinton. Okay, we're going to go to North Greenville, but with all that's going on, we're not going to do it this year. If you don't follow the Instagram page, that's the Instagram page, and D-Now is this Friday and Saturday. I told y'all we're going to leave from here and drive out there, but we're going to change that up. We're just going to meet out there. Okay, so we're going to meet out there at 6:45. Y'all say 6:45. 6:45 on Friday and Saturday night, okay? Reason being, our buses haven't been cranked in a really long time, and I'm afraid that if we go out there, and even if I go out there and get them cranked, that they might not, do the bus thing. So we're just gonna meet there. Y'all got that? Meet at the Neshoba County Coliseum at 6:45. Any questions about that? We'll be done, utility folks will be done by 8:15, okay, so they can keep going. Y'all are not gonna want to miss. Hey, y'all can grab some chairs in the back, just pull them up, now, if y'all want to. Not sit. But that's, okay. Hey, on that, I've got a water balloon solution. I've got some crazy socks. I know some of y'all have some cool sock swag. Dan has some cool sock swag. We're going to be water balloons that are shot back into the crowd. So we've got some good parts to do that. So if you got friends, I know y'all got friends, I'll send y'all out with friends. Bring your friends, come hang out at the ground this Friday and Saturday. Okay. I'm going to do games tonight, rock, paper, scissors. So what's going to happen here is you're going to find a teammate, don't touch, social distance, okay? But you're going to play rock, paper, scissors. And if you lose, you sit down. If you win, you continue on finding your partner. Got that? Not best 2 out of 3, one time, okay? And then whenever we get to the final one, we'll do best 2 out of 3. Okay, y'all got any questions about that? All right, stand up, find a partner, okay? Whatever I say, when you find a partner, don't go yet, okay? Just find a partner, okay? And I'm going to tell you to go. But don't go yet, all right? Everybody needs a partner. Does everybody have a partner? Okay, Mr. Scott, Ryan does have a partner. Hey, Mr. Scott, come here. All right, y'all ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, yeah. All right, now somebody else. Somebody else. If you lost it down. You lost it down. All right, hold on. Don't go yet. All right, did y'all go? Isaiah? Who's that? Did y'all already go? Okay. All right. Now, when you already said go, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, okay. All right, if you're a winner, come up here. If you're a winner, come up here. If you are a winner, come up here. All right, find a partner. There's 4 of y'all left. Find a partner. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, who won? Okay, all right, are y'all ready? All right, this is the best 2 out of 3. Okay? Okay, Kendall and... Okay, all right, y'all ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, okay, 1, nothing. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Whoa, what was that? That was like scissors, paper. That confused me. Okay, all right, go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, Lily, 1. Good job. Excellent. You made pride. It's all about pride, okay? Good job. Good job. Okay, that's rock, paper, scissors. So, if you ever notice something about rock, paper, scissors, they go rock or scissors first. And if they go, whichever one they went first, they're going to go the other one second. Like if they went rock, they're going to go scissors anyway. All right, my girls who are leading worship, Layla and Lauren, y'all come on up here. I'm going to pray for us, and then they're going to lead us in worship. God, thank you so much for being with us tonight, and just bringing this all together. I pray that you just be with us as we sing and as we hear Mr. Scott, his testimony. I pray that you be with him. I pray that you give him the words to say and give us the hearts to listen. I pray that you be with these ladies as they lead us in worship. And I pray that you just be with him. I pray that, Lord, just all the things that are going on in our lives and in our world, I pray that you give yourself us to kind of forget about that for a minute. And we're just focused on it. Lord, we love you and we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. All right, y'all stand up.
I raise a hallelujah in the presence of my enemy. I raise a hallelujah louder than the unbelief. I raise a hallelujah.
Okay, y'all are being pretty quiet for me. I see something. So, I got a question while I'm doing this. Can anybody tell me when I started playing drums? Anybody guess? When I was a baby? Well, I probably wanted to. A little more specific though. Huh? No. 15, I don't remember what grade is that. What grade was I in? No? No? Who? What did you say, 7? 12? No? Who said 7?
Were you 15 in the 7th grade?
That was back when the dinosaurs were here. So you get a very good excuse. So, Brother Evan, is that the one? I can't never tell. So, y'all have to forgive me. Let me get my thoughts together for a second. It's been a long couple of weeks. I work at the bank and got a lot going on right now, but I was excited about coming and sharing this with you. Brother Evan asked me a while back to do it, and a whole lot of stuff came up, and just wasn't able to, and finally he texted me. I remember last week and said, "Hey, can you do it Wednesday?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So, and I have given most of this at church. And I was looking back, and it was like in 2007. So y'all were probably, what was that, 13 years ago? So I don't know, you were little, you probably don't remember me doing this. But anyway, I grew up in church. I was baptized when I was 10, I think. And I'm 60 this year. So I'm old. And I was baptized at 10 years old. I don't really remember that. All I remember is going down front, and I think I probably did it because everybody else did. I just don't, I just can't recollect that at all. And when I was born, or let me say this, for growing up, I grew up here in Philadelphia. And does anybody ever watch Leave It to Beaver? Anybody even know what I'm talking about? Yeah, a few people. Yeah, all of them know. But I had a wonderful childhood growing up. Had a mom and dad that loved me and total unconditional love. I didn't know until college that I thought everybody had that. Got to college and found out, hey, that wasn't the case. And but I can say that now I'm, very, very thankful for growing up in the family that I did in Philadelphia. And my dad passed away a couple of years ago, and but my mama, she still calls me sweet baby. So please don't call me that in front of everybody, but that's all right if you do. Max Loper, he still calls me sweet baby. But so when I was born, I was cross-eyed, and you can see me. I have to really, struggle to see what I'm looking at here. So everybody see my left eye? Can you see that? Where it's crossed. I'd already had one operation, hadn't had the other one yet. And because of this, during high school and part of college, you know, I had thick, really thick glasses, about that thick. I mean, very, very thick. I looked like they had Coke bottles in the middle of them. And, you know, I would hear comments from the kids and stuff like that, and just learned to kind of blow it off. But now, as I'm older, all that kind of made me who I am today. And I'm okay with being weird. And most of y'all know that I'm kind of a strange ranger and like to act crazy and all that. I mean, I am a drummer, so what can you expect? But anyway, so let me just give you, there's me growing up. Now, I'm kind of a weird looking kid with my Farrah Fawcett t-shirt. If you can see that, if you even know who that is. And my sister. Oh wait, that's not me. That's my dog, that's my deaf dog. Really cool looking dog. So in 7th grade, I started playing drums. And I played on a box for a long time because the band director said if you can learn to play on a box, when you get to a drum, it's going to be really easy. So I did that, you know, for a long, long time. There I am. See me on your left, all the way to the left. See, you can kind of see my glasses. And, that's me at some band camp, I think at Ole Miss. But learning to play drums, let's just say that I was hooked. I mean, that's where I had my slogan, you know, that I have now: eat, sleep, drum, repeat. And so you can figure out the years there from 7th grade to age 60. That's a long time I've been playing. Now, my mama, when I was growing up, we didn't have all the technology that we have now. So I had a drum set and I had a record player, if you even know what records are. A record player, loud as it would go, playing drums. And how she put up with that all those years, I have no idea. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, my mom was the same. But I'm totally thankful that, you know, that she did that. Growing up, I was able to play in drum set duets. Has anybody ever seen a drum set duet? Nobody. That's what I mean. But Ken Fleming and I mean, I was a dork. I mean, look at that. I mean, I'm a total dork. And we even played out at Burnside for the ladies' luncheon. And that picture here is at the fair. We won the talent show at the fair. Went on to the Mid-South Fair and came in 2nd place out of 1,100 contestants. And so I'm just saying all this just to let you know how important playing drums has been to me, or especially back then, how important it was. Now this next part, if you tell my mom, I'll totally deny. So I don't know exactly how old y'all are, but I got involved in partying and drinking and all the stuff that, you know, kids do sometimes, and you know, she never did it. Well, that I know of anyway. And I hate to say it, but I was suspended from school for having pot. which actually was not mine. And I know people say that all the time, that's not mine. Well, it really wasn't, but still, you know, I was, you know, I had bad eyes, and then drinking and driving, that's not a really good combination. And I can look back now and say that our God was definitely looking out for me, because I would not be here right now. Especially with my eyes and drinking alcohol. Oh, I forgot to show you this. So I was cooking a week, Ken and I. Now that's exciting. I mean, we were totally excited about that. Here I am at the Shelby County Fair in 1977. You can see those glasses with that hair. And it was, the hair was not white back then. So, and all the time, during all this, I was coming to this church. I was in church every Sunday. My mom and dad had me in church every Sunday. I was at church. I was at youth. I was at youth choir, which I can't sing, but I was at youth choir. Back then they called it training union, or they call it discipleship training now. Everything. And knowing that God was not happy with me, but, you know, I just was just doing my thing. Then sometime in probably 11th grade, we formed a band that's called nowadays, it's called the Toys. Now, you already know that I like to play drums. Well, being in a band, you got to know that I was in hog heaven. And I'll never forget, first time I ever played live was at Philadelphia High School in the auditorium. I have no idea if the auditorium was in the same place as it was back then. We played 3 songs and no singer. But when we got through, the place kind of exploded. And I was totally hooked. And I finally had something as an identity other than my glasses, my eyes being bad. So I was a drummer in a rock band. And now for all the guys, my thing was, okay, being a guy in a rock band, why are you in a rock band? Anybody? Because of the girls. So I thought I was going to get a date or something. You know, well, up until this point, I'd never had a date. And it's not funny, it wasn't funny then, but it's funny now. You know, I remember asking this girl out and said, hey, will you go to whatever it was? And she said, no, I can't, I have to wash my hair. Now, girls, don't do that to a guy. Make up something better than that, okay? So, and that was pretty tough for me at the time. You know, I was kind of crushed by that. And so, but that made my determination to be a rock star even more. Because I was going to be this big, famous rock star, and these girls that were there were going to come up and say, oh, I want to go out with you, and they'll be like, go away from me. You know, that's what I really, really, really wanted to do. But so all the time, we kept playing and making plans to start playing when we graduated, playing in bars and for parties, and actually making money playing drums. Because, I mean, that's all I wanted to do. And one night after graduation, it was right before I started college. I was driving by this church, right out in the front of the church, or that way, I guess. Driving by the front of the church, going out to Northside Park. Because back then, we went to baseball games or whatever, Little League or whatever, because there was nothing else to do. So I was going out there, and I had remembered that there was going to be a group that played here at the church, and they had a drummer. Now you have to understand, in 1978, there were no drums. I'd never even heard of drums in the church. The only time that I ever remember a drum beat in the church, I played a little snare drum right by Miss Cole, Jane Cole, to Do You Hear What I Hear? You know that song, that Christmas song? And I thought that was the coolest thing, but we had never had any kind of drummer. So I thought, well, hey, there's going to be a drummer. I'm just going to stop by and see what that's all about, because I wanted to see drums in the church. So I came in and sat on the very back row on the piano side, and not knowing what was in store for me. I had zero idea, and God had meticulously placed me in that very back pew, kind of sitting like this, not knowing what I was going to do. And at the end, when they got to play it, not the piano player or the singer or the leader, the drummer got up and spoke. And now that has to be God. He got up and spoke, and his life sounded, before he met Christ, just like mine. I mean, exactly. And I mean, I was intent, and I can still remember, it was like I was looking through a tunnel, and all I could see was him in the front. And he was talking, and the whole time I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, that is me. And the Holy Spirit was really pricking at my heart really, really hard that night. So as soon as he got through and Dr. Dobbs gave the invitation, I mean, I flew up from and told him that I wanted to accept Christ, rededicate my life to him, and was saved that night. When after it was over, I went and told the drummer what had happened, and I don't think he really comprehended what actually transpired. But I know, and he has no idea who I am. I don't even know who he is. But I know one day in heaven, I'll get to thank him for being willing to share his testimony with the church and affect my life. So when, I was on cloud nine right after that, and I don't remember anything that happened after that, but I just remember going home and telling my mom what happened. And that night, I remember just laying in bed and thinking, okay, I have got to tell the band that I can't play anymore. Because I knew the path we were going down. And it was dangerous for me. So I don't remember if it was the next day or whenever the next practice we had, I went in, and this story reminds me of, I don't know if y'all were here Sunday morning and heard Brother Dan talk about David and the Jones, and Little Ricky from the Lucy Show playing drums for them, and having to tell them, you know, getting saved, and having to tell them that he couldn't play anymore. And that's exactly what I had to do. And went in and told them, and I mean, they laughed at me. They made jokes, you know, holy roller, I don't even remember what they said, but and one of the guys in the band kind of took me off to the side. He was like, man, I really respect what you're doing. And I've thought about that a bunch of times throughout my life. But it didn't matter. You know, Christ was my king now. So then, I was going to say something else, but then my next thought after that, I can remember thinking, this is 1978. There are no drums in church. There are no Christian rock bands. And I'm a drummer. Is it over for me? I mean, that's all I could think about. And I can remember asking God, if you will, you know, give me an opportunity to play, I'll play for you. And I had no idea how that would happen if, you know, because there were no opportunities back then. So, I forgot to show you. So, here is at our second show at you call it a show, 3 or 4 songs, at Philadelphia High School. Does anybody know Jeff Stewart on the radio? Stu Daddy? Y'all ever heard of him? Well, that's Stu Daddy right there. Right there and right there. Now, he was Mr. Cool. Now, I'm a dork. I mean, look at that. And, but, $40 years later, which was about 2 years ago, or 2 or 3, I don't remember, 2 or 3 years ago, the Toys were playing at Hamtown. And Ken asked me if I would play a song. So, I don't know, does this just play on that? Huh? And so they asked me if I would play, and kind of like Brother Dan on Sunday morning, you know, they asked Little Ricky to come back and play, you know, for something. And so I was so excited about being able to play. 40 years later, I never had to play with it, you know, this whole time. So. So I got to play with my old band, you know, 40 years later, and I never really gave a thought to that, how that would affect me. It was just, I played a song. Actually, I walked off the stage and went, I've never played that song before. I've heard it a bunch of times, but I've never played the song. But just remember that for right now. But anyway, so, you know, I asked God, please give me the opportunity to do something. And please give me the desires of my heart, because he knew what they were. I'll go through these quick. So at East Central, I was in the collegians, in the band. Now look at that picture. Now that's some hair right there. Can you see my glasses? But I thought that was something. Anyway, so drum and bugle corps in Memphis. I played snare drum at Mississippi State. I was able to be in a Christian contemporary group at Mississippi State called Drawn Together. And then from those members, we formed a Christian rock band after that called Kingdom in Jackson. So God was continuing to allow me to play even, no, it wasn't with that rock band, but He was allowing me to play for Him, which is far more important. Well, I got married, ended up, I hate to say, got divorced 6 years later, and at the time I was living in Orlando. Well, crazy me, I went off the deep end and went kind of wild. Ended up meeting Miss Sandy. Now, she may get mad at me if I show this, but there's Sandy and I when we were dating. Look at that shirt. Now, I'm cool. But we were out partying 2 or 3, 4 nights a week to 2 or 3 in the morning, and we couldn't get up at 8 o'clock the next day and go to work. And the whole time, I knew that I was doing wrong. I mean, the entire time. But, the devil had a hold on me at that time. And so Sandy and I we ended up getting married. And about 2 years after we got married in 1992, I found my old Christian albums and saw this album by this guy called Keith Green. And I put it on the record player and started playing it. And man, all these emotions started flooding back. And I remember looking at Sandy and saying, we need to go to church. And she said, okay. Kind of looked at her like, really? And because she hadn't been to church in years. I mean, years. And I hadn't been since I had been divorced. This was 4 or 5 years later. So we decided to go to church. There was a little small church right down from our house, and it was really small. The people were unbelievably sweet, but it was real dry. We thought, well, let's try somewhere else. So we went a little further down that road, and there was a big church. Walked in. Now this is a 1,500 member church. Go in. They got a 250 member choir and a 35-piece orchestra with drums, guitars, you name it. Well, the music started playing, and it was so joyous. People clapping, raising their hands, and it kind of made me nervous because I'm like, what's Sandy going to be thinking? I look over there and she's got tears rolling down her face. Gets to me every time I think about it. I can still see the image of her doing that. But she ended up, not too long after that, accepting Christ. And I can remember her just being so hungry. And we lived in Orlando, and it was hot down there. And she would go at lunchtime and sit in her car in 90-something degree weather and read her Bible every day. And she's a pretty amazing woman. You know, and I think God gave me another chance. I mean, here I was being actually stupid. I mean, we were eating. And that's the only word I could think of. When I was typing this out, I was like, heathen. And I was like, well, that's the only word. That's what we were. And let me just say, if you need another chance, God's right there. I mean, He's saying, okay, here it is. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, He will give you that chance unconditionally. So we stayed at that church until we left Orlando, and I got to play drums again in children's church. We had a band in children's church. Now there were 300 kids. So, and that was an absolute blast. I mean, I love playing with that. So after we moved back, we ended up wanting to be, or I wanted to be around my mom and dad. And my dad said, if you want to be around us, you got to move here, because I'm not moving to Orlando. So we moved back. And since we started going to church here, you all know, I guess you all know, that, you know, I played drums here and been playing here ever since. And so God continues to give me places. But before we moved here, we were in Collinsville, and I was able to play drums in Collinsville, which they had never had a drummer before. And we just set the drums up in front of the church, and I didn't play them for 2 weeks, just so people could get used to seeing the drums, and then started playing. So, you know, He continued to give me opportunities. And while we lived in Collinsville, I met these young guys. I saw an ad for a Christian rock drummer, called them up. Now they were between 18 and 21, and I'm like 40. So I'm old to them. And called them up, wanted to, you know, try out for the spot. And the guy figured that after talking to me that I was kind of old, and he said, can you talk to our bass player? You know, I mean, he was like 18. And so anyway, I ended up playing with him for a long time. And I mean, we were able to play all over Mississippi and Louisiana and some in Texas. So here you go. Now there's a little, if you're ever going into Meridian, there's a little spot right at the little cutoff to go to North Hills. There's a little shed right there. That's where we right there. I mean, here. First picture with some kind of, we call it photo shoot. So, anyway, there's me. I know that doesn't look like me. I had dark hair back then. Here's some more pictures. Now here's me in the middle with a soul patch and 4 hoop earrings, if you can imagine that. But it was some of the best times of my life, playing with them. Here, I'll play you. So, you know I'm a rocker at heart, so. No, that's fine. So,
Anyway, but I played with them for a long time. And, you know, here you can see, I mean, I played at FBC for, you know, for a long time. Got to play at the Temple Theater with the Southern Gospel Group. And played with this band called Altar. We were supposed to play for a week at a tent revival. Ended up being like 7 or 8 years. And so in Altar, it was all people that, or all the musicians, we had all played in secular rock bands forever. You know, or in the past, we played in rock bands. So anytime somebody would play some lick, you know, Aerosmith, Walk Away, or Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer, or something, we would all just start playing because we all knew it. And we would have a laugh about it and then, you know, continue on. I got to do a reunion here at Hamden with the young guys, and even now my middle grandson's playing drums in the band. So God continues to give me opportunities because of something that He did for me back in 1978. He is still continuing to give me the desires of my heart. And remember when I said about playing for my old band at Ham Jam, that one song that I didn't know and all that? Well, you know, I thought about this. I didn't realize at the time how that was going to affect me. Well, with those musicians from Altar, which was a Christian band, we had somebody that said, "Hey, we're having this graduation party. Can you just play some rock stuff?" And you know, we're like, "Yeah, okay, that sounds cool," you know, and not really giving it any thought. And well, that fell through. Then somebody, I don't even know exactly how it happened, but somebody from Marty's up here right off the square said, you know, called one of the members and said, "Hey, can y'all play a show at Marty's?" So we kind of talked about it, and we're like, well, okay, I mean, none of us will be drinking or nothing like that, but yeah, okay. So we learned about 50 songs and played them. Well, about 11 o'clock that night, I was like miserable. I'm like, I'm ready for this to be over. Well, we got through, and Marty came up to us and he said, "Man, you guys were awesome. Can y'all come back?" And I'm like, okay. Peer pressure, not just y'all that has peer pressure. We all have, us adults, we have peer pressure too. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm trying to justify it in my head. And we played, and after about 30 minutes that night, the next time we played there, I was miserable. I was just kind of going through the motions, knowing the whole time, I'm not supposed to be doing this. We played there. Then Main Street Association asked us to play at Ham Jam this year. And I thought, well, what's the harm in that? You know, people just walk around, you know, we just play music. And, well, I was miserable after about the second song. I was ready for it to be over with. And I told them, well, actually, before we even played, I told them, like, guys, this is my last time. And there were other members that said really the same thing. funny how one thing, when you think about it in your own life, it doesn't take but one little thing and to push you in the wrong direction. And so, I mean, I guess what, I want you to go away and think on is, is there something that I have in my life that doesn't need to be there? And if you do, and I'm not, everybody's different. But I know for me, it was that one song, pushed me in that, oh man, rock star. I still have that in the back of my mind. I mean, I'm old, but I still have that in the back of my mind. And if I had continued on that path, that's a real dangerous path for me. I mean, I would have been off the deep end. I would have eventually have stopped coming to church, stopped doing, essentially being a Christian. I mean, I think, and God knows what He's doing, and if you need a second chance, just ask Him. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. We really appreciate you coming and sharing. I know Mr. Scott has always been an encouragement to me. I knew Mr. Scott even before we came, so I really appreciate Mr. Scott and just the way he lives and what he's about. He's like this. You catch him on the side of the road or something, he's Mr. Scott everywhere you see him. So you always talk to him and carry on the conversation. Hey, you can listen real quick, guys. You can learn something from these folks' stories. They've been and done things that y'all think y'all know it all.